Club isn't the best place to find the lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, tripping fast and then we talk slow. Come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop, and the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. And now I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body. 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 Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with the shape of you. I'm in love with your body. Do you know? मैं तेनू किन्ना प्यार करदा. Do you know? मैं तेरे उत्ते किन्ना मरदा. Do you know? तेरे लिए मैं तां पिंड छड्डदा. Do you know? तेरे लिए लोकां नाल लड़दा. Do you know? तेरे लिए मैं स्टैंड ले लई. Do you know? मैं तेरा नाम लिखाया गुੱਟ ते. Do you know? आ जेड़े तेरे पिछे घुमदे. Do you know? मैं कल सारे कुੱਟ ते. Do you know? मैं तेरी घरे गल कर लई. Do you know? मैं मम्मी मेरे वल कर लई. Do you know? ਜਦੋਂ ਤੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੜਦੀ. Do you know? ਨੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਸੜਦਾ. Do you know? ਮੈਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Come on, be my baby. Do you know? Come on, be my baby. Come on, be my baby. Do you know? Come on, be my baby. Come on. When we let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. You and me is 50, so all you can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up the plate. We talk for hours and hours about sweet and sour and how your family's doing okay. And even getting a taxi, kissing the backseat, tell the driver make the radio play. And I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body. 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 Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. मैं सत्ता नहीं हूँ उसे दे देता. Do you know? तू जिद्दे बोली हाय बल्ली है. Do you know? जागी अंज संग दा नहीं.
Seasons Holidays and Holy Cow Home are pleased to offer this great free family holiday competition. To take part, you must register for the Diwali virtual event on the 14th of November. To do this, just go to holycowhome.co.uk/Festival of Lights. Full details on how you can win will be shared later, so make sure you go ahead and get registered today. Good luck. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to the Holy Cow Chai Tea Experience. This is one of the workshops we are running as part of the virtual Diwali Festival of Lights 2020. My name is Poonam Gupta, and over the last year I have dived into the world of loose leaf teas. I learned from the very best in the industry, Jane Pettigrew, and qualified as a tea champion under her guidance early last year from the UK Tea Academy. Interesting fact, did you know that tea is the most consumed beverage in the world after water? I've only been learning about tea for the last 18 months, and in the last 18 months I can safely say I have only touched the tip of the iceberg. There is so much to learn, and there is so much knowledge to impart, and there is so much we can learn together. However, today is about chai. Chai is the national drink of India, and what makes chai different? Masala chai specifically. In India, masala means ground spices, and traditionally every home will have its own masala based on their likes and dislikes. So every family has their own little twist, and that's what makes chai unique, that it is all about how the family likes it or how you like it. It could be grandmother's recipe, mum's recipe, passed down from generations and generations. But the beauty is that chai is so unique to you and your taste, and that's what we're going to be exploring today. The first method I'm going to be sharing with you is the authentic Indian tea process of making chai. Now, that is more of a stew than a brew. And then second method I'll be sharing with you is the steeping method, the more familiar method that we all know and use in our daily lives. And finally, I'm going to give you the tools to try and create your own blend. The first two that we'll be doing are going to be Holy Cow blends that I have, part of the learning process has been created for my own tea brand, but the final one is going to be true to you. So I'm going to be making at least 3 cups of tea, one for me, one for my son, and one for my husband, Abby. So to start off with, you're going to need a saucepan, 4 teaspoons of Holy Cow Masala Chai, and for the best results we need 3 cups, not mugs, of filtered water. Now the filtered water is, it takes out some of the minerals that alters the taste of the tea, and we want to get the best. We're using the best quality tea, we want to use the best quality water if we can, and that also gets rid of the scum that you sometimes see forming on the surface of your tea when you've had it and it's just slightly cooled down. So this actually eliminates that, so filtered water is best. If you were able to see this, you start to see that there's beginning to be a rolling boil. We'll just allow it to boil over slightly. We're going to reduce the heat. So it's more of a simmer than a boil. It smells lovely. Sadly, we can't transcend those smells across virtually, but if you have got the tea at home with you and you're making this along with me, then you'll be able to experience what I'm experiencing right now too. While it's boiling, it's extracting all the flavors out of the cinnamon, the cloves, the cardamom, the peppercorns. The longer we allow it to simmer like this, the more flavors we can extract, and the idea is to extract all the flavors, not just from the tea but from the spices as well. And spices come into their own when we introduce heat, and that's why when we're even making curries, we dry roast the spices beforehand, because it just enhances all the flavors, and there must be a chemical reaction or something happening to when we apply heat that intensifies all the flavors. Milk. Just allow it to boil, come to the boil, and then we'll do the same. We'll reduce the heat. Here it comes. You've got to keep a really close eye on this because it can happen in a split second. Don't walk away. Just going to reduce the heat. So I know it was described once as lots of fish eyes coming to the surface, dancing. And that's what you want as the simmering point, is these little bubbles forming and popping as they come to the surface, as they scatter away to the edges. Leave that again for a few more minutes, and I will introduce my sugar at this point as well. 1 spoon for each person. I also want to share with you how Holy Cow teas came to be. So I have a home interiors and gift store called Holy Cow Home, and you know, it was opened, it's been about 6 years now, and every Christmas I would be serving chai tea in the store to shoppers, as opposed to as an alternative to mulled wine, and that became quite popular, and the question they would ask is, oh, is this available to buy? And obviously it wasn't, because it was made in-house. So it got me thinking. I started thinking, oh, maybe I can think about Holy Cow, a tea brand itself, and that's where the journey began. So that's why I started looking into teas, obviously looking into, it has to be ethically sourced, it has to be environmentally friendly, because our packaging of everything we do is handmade, fair trade. It's you know, compostable as opposed to biodegradable, because there is a big difference between compostable and biodegradable, and indeed recyclable, but that's a conversation for another day. Pouring your tea from a distance is not only does it aerate, it also cools it down so it can be drank, because as it's boiling, it's just been boiled, it allows the moment to enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so we've created the chai tea traditional way. Now we're going to make chai the steeped method. So what we have here is my little teapot. This little pot makes just enough for 2 cups, and it's worth mentioning at this point that each cup, for example, is equivalent to 125 mils. So when we're referring to measurements for tea, we are talking about a cup, or 125 mil for a cup, but usually a mug is 2 of these. So if you're making a mug of tea, it's just double the quantities in terms of the tea. So with that in mind, we're going to use 2 spoons of our Festive Vanilla Chai. Oops. And I've measured out the water in here for 2 cups already, so I'm going to boil my water. And remember I said about it being filtered water, so I've already filled the jug with filtered water, and we're going to bring that to the boil. Once it's going to boil, there is also a little method, a little way, because we want our leaves to dance when we pour the water in. We'll come to that once the kettle is boiled. With black teas, we normally bring the temperature of the water up to 100 degrees, 99 to 100 degrees. My particular kettle here has got a temperature control. So for the more delicate teas, we use lower temperatures. And I also like this particular teapot because it's got this swan neck spout, and what it does is allows me to pour the water in on top of the leaves, not only to but it aerates it at the same time by having that thin flow of water. And we also want the leaves to be able to dance around and swirl as you pour the water in. So in doing that process, it actually gives the most amount of extraction of the flavors that we're looking to get, not just from the leaves but also from the spices as well. And this allowing 3 minutes of brewing time. But while that is in, I just want to give you a close-up of the different teas. So this is the vanilla chai, and it's made up of a combination of Assamese and Sri Lankan leaves plus spices that we mentioned earlier. You can see the cloves there, the peppercorn, the ginger, there's cardamom, cinnamon, and it's the same with the chai masala. It's got the same spices, but this is all Assam in here, and then this is the Assam on its own. So you can see from the leaves that it's not a whole leaf, but it's what we call a broken leaf, and then it's been twisted as well. What that does, the broken element of the tea leaves actually allows more of the tea to come into contact with the hot water, because it's only the edges that actually release the flavors. So the more edges we have, the more broken the tea is, the more faster the caffeine will come out and be extracted in when it comes into contact with the hot water. So it's not always necessary to have a whole leaf tea. Depends on what type of tea you're drinking. So it's really, good to have an understanding of where a whole leaf is really good and how to treat it and how to best get the flavors from it to be able to enjoy your beverage, but also for when it's more suitable to have a broken leaf. And I think chai in particular, and what we drink, English breakfast, Earl Grey, those are the teas that lend themselves to have a broken leaf, whereas some are the ones that we will be talking about in future lessons is more susceptible and more preferable to have as a whole leaf. And I see even that this cup had a couple of more seconds of brewing time, so it's just slightly darker because it's had a few more seconds of caffeine to be here to come into it. But one of the things I was saying, that make sure that when you are buying your tea, the teapot, or whichever teapot you're using, you're not leaving water sitting in the actual pot after you've drawn your cup, because that caffeine will continue to be extracted and continue to flavor the tea. And if you over caffeinate, you've got too much tannins in it, and then it will ruin the flavor and your enjoyment of the actual drink. Okay, so now I would like to talk to you about making your own blend. Now, if you had ordered the chai tea packs, you would have received a pack of Assam from us, from Holy Cow. Now, it doesn't have to be Assam. You can use any black tea as a base. It could even be a tea bag that you might already have in your cupboard, so long as it's a black tea. And then you can start playing with it. The quantity, remember the quantities I talked about, but if you are using the tea bag tea, remember they're a lot stronger than loose leaf, and so you could reduce the quantity of the tea you actually use. And then start playing. Introduce the flavors you would like to enjoy or experiment with your tea. And that could be anything from cinnamon, ginger, aniseed, cardamoms, cloves, red peppercorns, black peppercorn, or even any other fennel seeds. So whatever flavor that you might imagine that you would like to experience within your tea. So just have a go. There is no right or wrong answer. Spices, there's so many to choose from, and I'd love to hear about it from you when we meet at the Zoom GI Tea Party. So thank you so much for joining in the virtual chai tea experience. This is it is unprecedented times, and it is a time when we are all adjusting to a new way of doing this. You could probably tell that I've never done this before, and I hope that it's put me out of my comfort zone, and I hope it will also inspire you to not be afraid to go out of your comfort zone as well.